Today's news highlights. Date April 11, 2025. News highlights: Trump announced an increase in tariffs on China to 125% and a 90-day moratorium on tariffs on countries that have not retaliated against the United States, while China raised retaliatory tariffs to 84%. The U.S. side called the move a strategic design that put the CCP in a difficult position, emphasizing room for negotiation and rewarding those who do not retaliate. News highlights: Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the Ukrainian army captured 2 Chinese citizens fighting for the Russian army in Donetsk and released their confessions and documents, saying that at least 150 Chinese were involved in the Russian war. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Communist Party of China denied it, saying that the relevant claims were groundless. News highlights: TSMC's revenue in March reached 285.957 billion yuan, a record high for the same period of the previous year, and revenue in the first quarter increased by 41.6% year-on-year. Benefiting from Trump's reciprocal tariff suspension policy, the stock price gapped to 863 yuan on the 10th, and the market value rebounded to 22.38 trillion yuan. The corporation is optimistic about 2nm mass production and overseas factory expansion, which will help the annual revenue challenge of $100 billion. News highlights: Trump announced that tariffs on China would rise to 125% and suspend the levy on 75 countries, including Taiwan, for 90 days. President Li Ching-te stressed the need to deepen Taiwan's economic and trade cooperation, reduce tariffs, expand investment, and remove obstacles. The government has launched 4 major communication strategies to actively stabilize the economy and promote Taiwan's negotiations. News highlights: Zhou Yongming, the 71-year-old godfather of Taiwan's smartphones, is concerned about the earthquake in Myanmar and calls for assistance to the victims. A few days ago, he drove 8.75 million yuan of Audi to Myanmar Street to buy hometown food illegally, was billed by the police, and drove back to the 200 million yuan mansion to enjoy it after taking it out. News highlights: Trump announced the suspension of reciprocal tariffs for 90 days. Taiwan's IPC and IC design factories ushered in a rush of orders, and customers asked to speed up shipments. Some manufacturers are worried about repeated policies and have postponed shipments on a wait-and-see basis. OEMs and network operators have not changed much in orders at present, but continue to pay attention to the development of the situation. News highlights: Wang Sijia faced the rumors that her husband Zhou was not a wealthy businessman and used to be a bodyguard, and responded positively for the first time today. "I never said that I married a wealthy family," and felt distressed and sorry for her husband's attention from the outside world, emphasizing that she married a good family and was someone who understood and respected her. She also called on the outside world to let go of her obsession with her family, saying that she cherished the love in front of her more after experiencing the turmoil. News highlights: Trump's announcement of an increase in tariffs on China to 125%, while the remaining 75 countries suspended for 90 days and reduced to 10%, spurred global stock markets to surge. China responded that it was okay to talk about it, and it was okay to accompany it. Trump stressed that the strategy is to avoid retaliation and consider corporate exemptions, hoping to lead the international renegotiation of trade terms. News highlights today, 11th. The weather in Taiwan has stabilized, mainly cloudy, only Huadong and mountainous areas have local rain in the afternoon, and the high temperature has risen to around 30 degrees Celsius during the day. Tomorrow, 12th, the front will pass, the northeast monsoon will strengthen, the weekend may cool down to rain, and the low temperature in the north may drop to 15 degrees Celsius at night. The public should pay attention to the weather changes. News highlights: Trump announced a 90-day moratorium on reciprocal tariffs, spurring a rebound but heightened volatility. Experts suggest that investors can allocate short-term U.S. Treasury ETFs to reduce interest rate risk and stabilize portfolios in response to market uncertainty and potential inflationary pressures. News highlights: Zhang Zhezai admitted that he still loved his ex-wife Su Yunal, but because he had no consensus on having a child and he had been sterilized, he had to let go of the divorce. The two are still friends, and he described that he has no spare energy for love, and that his marriage is beautiful but the amount of energy has been exhausted, lamenting, "How can my wife be happy when she leaves?" Show maturity and reluctance. News highlights: Trump's announcement of a total tariff of 145% on China triggered a panic in the market, and U.S. stocks fell heavily on the 10th, with the Dow Jones falling more than 1,000 points, the S&P and Nasdaq falling more than 3%, and the FI index plummeting nearly 8%, highlighting the continued rise in Sino-US trade tensions and economic uncertainty. News highlights: a 26-year-old woman fell from the 11th floor in the early hours of this morning and died, the third homicide in 47 days. The initial judgment of the police is that no external force will intervene and will strengthen the security measures of the shopping mall. Frequent accidents have the locals crying out in horror. News highlights: affected by the change of Trump's tariff policy, Taiwan stocks rebounded strongly after falling more than 582 points at the opening on the 11th, turning from black to red, and the market rose as high as 19,098 points. The three heroes of shipping performed strongly, and Yang Ming and Wanhai attacked the price limit. U.S. stocks fell across the board, with Dow Jones falling more than 1,000 points. News highlights: Taiwan stocks hit the biggest rise in history on the 10th, but leaks also overturned in a row. Oneness, 4,743, broke the default delivery of 18.47 million yuan, becoming the fourth and second largest default case on the OTC this year. The main cause of default is still the old problem, insufficient account balance, and investors are reminded to pay attention to whether the funds are in place on the T+2 delivery date to avoid credit loss and legal risks. News highlights: Trump issued an article on the 9th saying that the time to buy has come, and then announced the suspension of tariffs in many countries, and the stock market rose sharply to raise suspicions of insider trading, and it was even recorded that he showed off his rich friends and made billions of dollars from it. Several lawmakers called for an investigation into the officials involved, and the White House argued that it was a negotiating tactic, and the controversy continued to burn. News highlights: Kay Wens, the former chairman of the People's Party, was indicted on multiple charges of corruption and false accounts for political donations, and was sentenced to 28 years in June in prison. His secretary, Su Ziyu, has been wanted by the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office and is suspected of fleeing to Japan or Australia. The Investigation Bureau of the Legal Affairs Department has listed her as a fugitive wanted criminal, and if the public provides clues to assist in the successful arrest, she will be awarded a whistleblower bonus. News highlights: Hong Kong veteran actor Gu Feng passed away at home on March 27 at the age of 94, and the news was confirmed by former Shaw Brothers martial arts actor Wei Ziun on April 10. Gu Feng has participated in more than 200 movies and many TV series in his life, with a wide range of acting and excellent acting skills, and is deeply loved by the audience. Representative works include Chong Wei Ta Dad in Jupin Sesame Official, as well as classics such as Chicken and Duck Talk and New One-Armed Knife. He has twice won the Golden Horse Award for Best Supporting Actor. After fading out of the showbiz after 2011, director Lee Lizzie and other insiders expressed their condolences and mourned this film legend. News highlights: Chung Soo-chi angrily accused the jewelry manager couple of smearing his ex-wife Hui Yunil for a long time, causing her to suffer physical and mental injuries and even stomach bleeding. He confessed in the podcast that he still loves his ex-wife, and the main reason for the divorce is that the woman wants to have children, and he has already been sterilized and cannot reach a consensus. News highlights: Sammo Hung, a 73-year-old Hong Kong star, suffered from diabetes and needed to use a wheelchair to get around and control his diet. Doctors pointed out that the four major painless symptoms of diabetes are dark skin, abnormal weight loss, excessive eating, drinking, and urine, and blurred vision, reminding people to pay attention to early signs. News highlights: Cancer is the leading cause of death, with about 130,000 new diagnoses and 53,000 deaths in 111. Physician Huang Xian pointed out that the main causes of cancer include genetics, lifestyle, environment, and infection, and recommended smoking cessation, healthy diet, exercise, drug avoidance, vaccination, and regular health check UPS to reduce the risk. News highlights: A sightseeing helicopter crashed into the Hudson River in New York on April 10, killing all 6 people on board. The dead included Escobar, the CEO of Siemens Spain, and his family of 5, as well as the driver. The helicopter appeared to have disintegrated in midair and sank quickly after the incident, with witnesses describing the crash as extremely fast. News highlights: Palau President Hui Shuren stressed that Palau will not succumb to Chinese pressure and strengthen its friendship with Taiwan, describing its relationship with Taiwan as "until death separates us." He also pointed out that Palau is stepping up military cooperation with the United States to deal with regional security threats. News highlights: As the trade war between China and the United States heats up, Beijing responds toughly, and the United States imposes tariffs of up to 125% on China. Compared with the calmness of China's footwear industry, Taiwan's shoe factories are facing the crisis of closure. 40 large factories are likely to close, and 2 companies have begun to take unpaid leave. Taichung's footwear industry, which used to have hundreds of factories, now has only 40 left, and if the tariff rises to 32%, the industry will shrink further. President Li Qiang will launch an industrial listening tour and have a discussion with enterprises in central China. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 90-day moratorium on reciprocal tariffs on most countries, during which only 10% of the basic tariffs will be imposed, but tariffs on China will be raised to 125%. White House economic advisor Hassett confirmed that 15 countries have proposed tariff deals, including Taiwan. Trump said that more than 75 countries have contacted the U.S. side for negotiations, stressing that negotiations began before the suspension of tariffs was announced. News highlights: The goddess Wu Wanjun of the 8 O'Clock File recently accused the actor Zhao Jinya of domestic violence, and revealed that she was subjected to verbal violence and emotional blackmail during the relationship. She posted on the community that after experiencing the pain, she chose to leave with dignity, emphasizing that "I don't explain, because I have a choice," and expressed her open-mindedness to the past without arguing and explaining. Wu Wanjun also emphasized that no matter what others think of her, she no longer cares. News highlights: In the battle between Taiwan Beer and Zhonghua Bailey in the SBL Super Basketball League, Ha Xiaoyuan, the assistant coach of Taiwan Beer, was dissatisfied with the referee's decision, rushed to the court to protest and led the team to leave the court, which eventually led to the end of the game with Bai Lily's victory. The Basketball Association of the Republic of China punished this incident and decided to ban Ha Xiaoyuan from holding positions in the association, the league, or the team for 3 years, and disqualified him from registering for this event. In addition, 2 assistant coaches received written reprimands for misconduct. News highlights actress Wang Sijia recently responded to public opinion through a long article, expressing distress about her husband's privacy being exposed. She emphasized that family and happiness are the most important things, and mentioned that her husband has always supported her career, and that they are busy and respect each other. Regarding the rumors from the outside world, Wang Sijia clarified that she never claimed to marry into a wealthy family, but found a partner who respected her and let her be her own. She lamented that her husband had become the focus of public opinion, and she felt very sad and expressed her helplessness at the untruthful statements. She also revealed that despite the malicious smears on the internet, her husband not only did not blame her, but comforted her, which made her cherish and appreciate the relationship even more. News highlights Ho Pishan recently revealed on social media that she has severe presbyopia, and frankly admitted that she needs to wear reading glasses, which makes fans concerned. Her real performance was supported, but some netizens criticized. In recent years, Ho Pishan has sparked controversy over her remarks about returning to the motherland and Taiwan province of China, especially after reposting the relevant Weibo, and the MAC has condemned her stance and may conduct an investigation. News highlights Jo Xiu, a Taiwanese member of the South Korean girl group Twice, once caused the anger of mainland fans for waving the Taiwan flag, and the agency JYP Entertainment demanded an apology, causing dissatisfaction among Taiwanese fans and affecting the presidential election that year. Recently, some fans discovered that JYP Entertainment's social platform fans marked Taiwan as Taiwan province of China after the update, which triggered strong protests from Taiwanese fans and criticized it as an insult to Taiwan. The move left fans disgruntled and disappointed. News highlights according to foreign media reports such as TBS News, Yoshimoto Kochio announced on the 10th that its artist Ryo Yamada passed away on the 8th, and held a funeral and memorial service in accordance with the wishes of the family on the 9th, which was only attended by relatives and friends. Ryo Yamada, who toured Yoshimoto's Shin Comedy in February, did not show any health abnormalities at the time, and shockingly, his sudden death from heart failure has sent fans to express their condolences. News highlights Wang Sijia issued an article in response to the controversy to clarify that she is not married to a wealthy family, but a good family, emphasizing that her husband is low-key but has become the focus of public opinion because of her, and calls on the outside world to let go and respect privacy. She cherishes her family and work and is grateful to her husband for his support. Joe issued a statement denying the online profession and said that he was willing to accompany his wife to face everything. News highlights after Zhang Tianlin and Hong Xiaoling welcomed the birth of their beloved daughter, they suddenly announced on April 10 that they would withdraw from CAITNG Catering, which they were the chairman of, and had nothing to do with the company, which shocked fans. He has deleted his past posts to focus on his family's new life. News highlights He Shihua, a former member of Atomic Boy, was sentenced to 6 months in prison for a forced indecent assault case, and the community was suspended for nearly 3 years. News highlights Wang Sijia's husband Zhou's career has been hotly discussed again, and when she was questioned by Xiao S in the past on Miss Bulletin City, she only said that she was a serious worker, and denied that she was a rich man or an engineer. In the end, he only vaguely said that he was just like that close to the investment field, and Zhou admitted that he lived abroad after marriage and admired his wife's independence and not checking attendance. News highlights New Jeans stopped work due to a contract dispute with its company ADOR, and on the 10th, it reported safety to fans through the renamed IG account MHDHH_friends, thanking bunnies for their support, frankly saying that fan letters have become a supporting force, and promising to bring more happy times. At present, the lawsuit is still ongoing, and the positions of both parties have not changed, and the follow-up has attracted attention. News highlights Taiwan stocks fell more than 500 points in early trading on the 11th, and the gold stock Luang led the rise, once hitting the daily limit and ascending to the back position, driving Chuanhu, Weiying, Mediatek and other synchronous attacks. The corporate chips show that foreign investment continues to increase, the fundamentals of e-memory and Chuanhu are bright, and the introduction of AI applications is accelerated, and the performance of the market outlook is attracting attention. News highlights the heavy fall in U.S. stocks affected the volatility of Taiwan stocks. TSMC pulled sharply to 885 yuan in intraday trading, the trading volume of fractional shares exceeded 2.3 million shares, Hanhai rose more than 4%, and petty bourgeoisie had a strong willingness to enter the market. The solid fundamentals of TSMC and Hanhai have led to a recovery in market confidence. News highlights on the 11th, the stock exchange announced that 19 financial stocks were prohibited from securities trading, including CITIC Gold, Mega Gold, etc., because the shareholders' meeting is approaching, and it is necessary to make up for it. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump announced a moratorium on tariffs imposed on a number of countries, but China was not included in the talks. The White House stressed that the United States should not take the initiative to engage with China, and China must take the initiative to show goodwill. Trump believes that China's choice of retaliation and escalation has led to the current tensions. China, for its part, said that the dialogue must be based on mutual respect and equality, and warned that it would resolutely respond to pressure from the United States. The U.S. has recently shifted its focus to other countries and stepped up strategic pressure on China. News highlights fast retailing CEO Masashi Yanai said U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs would lead to U.S. isolation, warning that such policies could ultimately hurt the U.S. itself. He pointed out that the global economy knows no borders, and companies will adjust their production bases to reduce the impact, and mentioned that Chinese suppliers have expanded to Vietnam, Indonesia, and other places. Fast retailing forecasts that if tariffs remain unchanged, operating profit will decline by about 2% to 3% in the second half of the fiscal year. Still, the tariff shock was limited as most of the products were imported ahead of schedule. News highlights a daughter-in-law posted a complaint on Facebook that her mother-in-law favored her sister-in-law's family and doted on her sister-in-law's son, grandson, in every way, and her grandson was scolded for everything. The daughter-in-law recalled that in the past, her mother-in-law always took good care of her grandson and was indifferent to her grandson, and even once was reprimanded by her mother-in-law for eating 2 more shrimps. Many years later, when the mother-in-law was old and sick, she asked her grandchildren to take turns to take care of her, but the sister-in-law's family ignored it, making the daughter-in-law feel that this was the current newspaper, and criticized the parents for favoring incompetent children and asking capable children to work more. News highlights Wang Jinping, former head of the legislature, put forward the argument that the administrative powers of the two sides of the strait are not subordinate to each other and that sovereignty is the same without separation, which has aroused concern. The DPP's lukewarm response to this is in stark contrast to the previous strong response to the issue. Foreign Minister Lim Ka-long said that the distinction between sovereignty and governance could confuse the term, stressing that the governance of the elected government is the key. UMC founder Cao Xing-cheng criticized this view as similar to the CCP's position and may harm Taiwan's sovereignty. This exposition has aroused extensive discussion in society and has an important impact on the development of cross-strait relations in the future. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 125% tariff on China, effectively adding the previous 20% to fentanyl, bringing the total to 145%. China responded by imposing 84% tariffs and restricting imports of Hollywood films. Trump reacted lukewarmly, saying that he would not make this a big issue and stressed that he hoped to reach an agreement with the Chinese side. China, for its part, said it would respond resolutely and stressed its confidence in meeting the challenges. The two sides are not only fighting economically, but also fighting each other face-to-face. News highlights President Lai Ching-te today, 11th, in Taichung with machinery industry discussions, emphasizing that the government has fully responded to the United States' reciprocal tariff policy, and put forward 4 major plans to negotiate with the United States, has received a positive response. Taiwan was included in the list of the first wave of negotiations with the U.S. side. Lai Ching-te said that the government has long prepared a contingency plan and has submitted a plan to the United States, including strategies such as promoting Taiwan-US trade negotiations and expanding U.S. product procurement, so as to ensure Taiwan's industrial development and national interests. News highlights when questioned by Kuomintang legislator Su Kyoxin about the National Security Bureau on the 9th, he questioned by name that the diplomat surnamed he of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was a communist spy, and showed photos to demand a thorough investigation. Later, it was discovered that the person referred to was not the same person. Su Kyoxin apologized and admitted that the investigation was insufficient. She bowed many times and even choked up during the apology process, and said that if Mrs. He felt that the apology was not sincere enough, she would like to apologize again. In the face of external criticism, she stressed that she had no intention of pressuring or bullying, but just wanted to apologize to the person concerned. News highlights Huang of National Taiwan University posted a post on the Facebook club to help collect a joint signature to remove Fu Kunking, and was insulted as a green toad by a professor at Cheng University, and the department office received a protest call. Huang emphasized that he supported civic activities, and believed that Fu Kunking was unfit for duty and felt sad for his hometown Hualien, so he participated in the signature. Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, legislator Huang Ji and others came out in solidarity, criticizing professors for abusing their power to suppress students, calling it a warning sign of democratic regression, and calling on society to respect students' right to express themselves. News highlights former U.S. President Donald Trump announced on the 9th that he would postpone some reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, and posted on social media platforms that now is the perfect time to enter the market. Specifically marked with the ticker symbol of Trump Media and Technology. The move spurred a surge in U.S. stocks, and a video was later revealed showing Trump talking to Schwab, the founder of a financial institution, showing off that he had made $2.5 billion. The incident has raised questions about accusations that Trump may be involved in insider trading or stock market control, and calls for an investigation. News highlights: recently, the German media Deutsche Welle misused the image of China's official media CCTV when reporting on the reaction of the Taiwanese people to the military exercise, and this biased report has attracted widespread attention. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs quickly expressed its concern and lodged a solemn protest against the interception of CCP state media materials by foreign media in future interviews. Subsequently, Deutsche Welle issued an apology statement through Facebook, saying that it had removed the inappropriate material and stressed that it would continue to review and improve. The media stressed that it would adhere to the principles of neutrality and impartiality in reporting, and that it would take responsibility for mistakes. News highlights: Trump announced tariffs of up to 145% on China and other countries, and Xi Jinping, chairman of Cakes and Media, questioned the limited effect of this move, believing that excessively high tariffs could lead to trade disruptions and smuggling. He predicted that the tariff war would eventually end in a repetition between the two sides, and warned that if the United States did not adjust its strategy, it could lead to a global catastrophe. In addition, Xi Jinping pointed out that the reaction of the Chinese stock market has been stable, indicating that China has foreseen and is ready to deal with Trump's strategy. News highlights: Ye Chuanzhen returned to the stage after 30 years and will participate in the stage play Class Reunion. Same as shoes. At the press conference, she appeared in a light blue dress, showing off her slender figure. The actor Tang's Highway revealed that he recommended her to join the crew, and joked that it burned my heart for 30 years. Ye Chuanzhen recalled the past and said that he didn't like to socialize, but he would secretly pay attention to his crush. Regarding the stock market crash, she said in a low-key manner that she did not invest in stocks. The 10th anniversary tour will be staged in Taichung, Taipei, and Kaohsiung. News highlights: physician Zhang Shaoshan reminds that although fish is a high-quality source of protein, eating too much large fish such as tuna and shark may increase the risk of dementia. These fish contain large amounts of mercury, which can cause heavy metal poisoning and cause health hazards when consumed for a long time. He recommends choosing small fish such as mackerel and sauri, which are not only rich in omega-3, which is good for brain and cardiovascular health, but also reduces the risk of dementia. News highlights: Filipino-Chinese businessman Guo Kongyuan, 68, a steel tycoon, was kidnapped with his driver in Bulacan province on March 29 and torn up his ticket after paying a ransom of more than $120 million. Police found their bodies in April, having been tortured to death. Guo was involved in offshore gaming transactions in the Philippines, but was suspected of retaliation after the deal broke down. The case has attracted attention, damaged the reputation of the police, and the local community has questioned the efficiency of law enforcement. News highlights: Douyin internet celebrity brother An's broken thoughts were accused of causing the death of his girlfriend surnamed Chen's sister-in-law and due to long-term domestic violence, and An's sister-in-law brother Alan recently bid farewell to his sister through social platforms, and revealed the content of his sister's dream, saying that he would inherit his sister's good deeds to help more people. He prepared paper-bound brand name bags, luxury cars, and other items, and vowed to seek justice for his sister. Although the prosecution found no obvious external injuries after autopsy, the poison test was still conducted, and the cause of death is pending the confirmation of the results of the examination. Sister-in-law's farewell ceremony will be held in Chi, and whether she will attend will attract attention. News highlights: Chongwuji Noodle Cake Shop on Hangzhou South Road, Taipei City, which has been in business for more than 50 years, recently announced that it will temporarily close down and look for a new store due to the demolition of the store site at the end of May. This news made local residents feel sorry. The Huangjiao baked cake and crab shell yellow in the store are very popular with customers, and Guan Zongmin, the former president of National Taiwan University, even listed it as their favorite baked cake shop. The well-known writer Zhang Zhezheng also went to check in and humorously mentioned whether he would move to Daedu, which aroused discussion among netizens. The store has a 4.2-star rating on Google Maps, and customers praise the deliciousness of the pancakes. News highlights: many people love to drink beverages, but excessive intake may increase the risk of cancer. Huang Xian, a thoracic and intensive care specialist, pointed out that more than 500,000 cases of cancer worldwide every year are related to sugar-sweetened beverages, and not only sugar is the main culprit, but also alcohol, hot drinks, and processed fruit juices. Drinking 500 ml of sugar-sweetened beverages a day increases the risk of pancreatic cancer by 87%, and alcohol is a Class 1 carcinogen, increasing the risk of digestive tract cancer. Hot drinks can cause esophageal cancer, and even natural fruit juices may increase the risk of cancer. News highlights: a horrific murder case occurred in Yulan. The 56-year-old man surnamed Chu went missing after going out on the evening of the 7th, and the police launched an investigation, and at noon on the 9th, he was found to have been slashed 25 times and his body was in the back seat of his car under the side lane of Wuyuan in number 5 Dongshan. On the afternoon of the 10th, the police arrested a 24-year-old man surnamed Jane, and a preliminary investigation revealed that the man had premeditated to kill the creditor because he owed more than 1 million in debt. At present, the whole case is being sent for homicide, and the police suspect that there are still accomplices, and the investigation is ongoing. News highlights: the incident highlights the importance of submarine cable safety. The Hungta 58 cargo ship piloted by a mainland captain surnamed Wang is suspected of deliberately anchoring in longitudinal in China's Anchorage Prohibition Area, sabotaging Changhua Telecom's Taipan No. 3 submarine cable, causing communication between Taiwan and Penghu to be blocked. The Tainan District Prosecutor's Office has prosecuted Wang Nan in accordance with Article 72, Paragraph 1 of the Telecommunications Management Act, and pointed out that his behavior was premeditated and his attitude after committing the crime was not good, and recommended that the court give him an appropriate sentence. News highlights: at more than 12 noon on April 9, it was reported that under the highway bridge in Huiyuan Village, Dongshan Township, there was a man in his 50s who was in the back seat of his car, and was stabbed more than 20 times. News highlights: actress Wang Sijia was blown up by a husband who was not a rich businessman, and the old light was turned out again. She admitted that she didn't notice it at the time, but later learned that the photos were leaked and even downloaded, which made her feel cold, emphasizing that it was not intentional, lamenting the heavy pressure of misunderstanding and public opinion from the outside world. News highlights: Zhang Shanzheng expressed concern about Li Qing's proposal for zero-tariff negotiations with the United States, warned that exchanging huge investment for tariffs may lead to industrial relocation and the weakening of the Silicon Shield, and questioned whether food safety will be sacrificed for the market, and called on the Taiwan authorities to respond prudently to protect Taiwan's core interests and people's well-being. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 90-day moratorium on reciprocal tariffs on some countries, and Taiwan's tax rate, which was originally set at 32%, was also included in the scope of the suspension. Tariffs on China remain high to 125%. Trump stressed that he is willing to make an agreement with China, but if the negotiations fail, he will not rule out the resumption of the policy of high tariffs. News highlights: the 2026 election campaign is approaching, and the Taipei City Party Department of the Democratic Progressive Party has recently received 153 applications to join the party, which are suspected of being charged by specific factions, many of whom are involved in fraud, drugs, and other black backgrounds. Chairman Zhang Minan stressed that strict examination will be carried out, the infiltration of black gold will be eliminated, and the party's integrity and system will be maintained. News highlights: Su Qi pointed out that there is no hope for cross-strait peace talks, and Taiwan is in a dual security and economic predicament, and it is feared that the risk of military reunification will be detonated by the breakdown of US-China talks. He warned Trump that he has no intention of negotiating with China, and that if Beijing despairs of the United States, Taiwan will enter an extremely dangerous situation, and called on the people to seek more blessings for themselves. News highlights: Osyang was punished for losing the game in New Era of variety shows and was punished for wearing a fake apple on the bench, and was shot wildly by Yang Xiaoyi with a rubber band machine gun, and the scene was hilarious. The crowd experienced the harvesting and sale of roasted corn, saying that farm work is not simple. News highlights: a 50-year-old man eats tuna every day to prevent dementia, but he suffered from mercury poisoning caused by excessive intake of large fish, and suffered from memory loss, hand tremors, kidney failure, and other symptoms. Nephrologist Zhang Xiaoshan pointed out that large fish such as tuna and sharks are prone to accumulate heavy metals such as mercury, lead, arsenic, etc., and long-term overdose may cause dementia, cancer, and kidney damage. News highlights: a sightseeing helicopter carrying Spanish tourists crashed in the Hudson River in New York City on the afternoon of April 10, killing all 6 people, including 3 children, including the pilot. Escobar, president of Siemens Spain, his wife, and 3 children were among the victims of the crash. The accident occurred in waters just 15 minutes from the Wall Street heliport, when the helicopter's propeller suddenly broke, causing it to fall. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, has begun an investigation into the matter. News highlights: due to the intensification of the US-China trade war, international oil prices continued to fall. According to the report, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude oil futures and Brent crude oil futures fell to $60.07 and $63.33 per barrel, respectively. This wave of oil price fluctuations is expected to affect domestic oil prices. Gasoline prices are expected to be lowered by 7 jiao next week, while diesel prices will drop sharply by 1.2 yuan. Such a price change will reduce the cost of refueling for the public, and the price of gasoline is expected to drop to 29.6 yuan per liter and diesel to 26.5 yuan per liter. The specific adjustment will be announced by CNPC at 12 p.m. on the 13th. News highlights: Louis Koo recently revealed at the 49th Hong Kong International Film Festival that he had 2 holes in the retina of his right eye and suffered from floaters, which caused black lines to fly around in front of his eyes. To solve this problem, he will arrange for eye surgery. Louis Koo said that after the surgery, he needs a week of recuperation, wears contact lenses in advance, and cannot fly for a period of time.